everyone, Tabby here, and I want to share with you guys my current God tier book recommendations. These are just like all the books that I would first recommend someone. I think it's perfect for being my second booktube video on the channel, that I should like put these out here so people know what I consider God tier. So first up, I have Acorna. I loved this book. I had originally read this book in middle school, but let me tell you, it completely went over my head. Like, this is a sci-fi fantasy mix, and I didn't really understand what was going on at 12, but at 25, I understood what was going on perfectly, and not only that, but I actually might want to continue reading this series now. Not might, I definitely do want to continue reading this series now. It follows basically Acorna and a bunch of there's these guys that are space miners, and they go out to commons and mine minerals from them and go back and like sell them, right? And they come across her life pod and take her in and like raise her, and it's their journey of how their lives change because their lives started revolving around Acorna. She basically has 3 dads, but it's this crazy adventure. It also features, there's a lot of bad things going on this planet on Kesdet. I think that's how you say it, Kesdet. And let's just say that there are children being treated improperly, and her entire goal is to set them all free. Absolutely love her. Next up, change of scene, Into the Drowning Deep is this like deep sea horror book about killer mermaids in the Mariana Trench. This company has been doing mockumentaries about like mythical creatures, and during filming a mockumentary about mermaids, their ship gets overrun by creatures and completely disappears. They only find some corrupted footage and a bloody ship, and people think it was just made up for the mockumentary or whatever. But this book follows a sister of one of the people on that ship. She's a marine biologist, and she gets invited to go on the new ship that's going back out there to see if they can figure out what happened. It's a lot of fun. It's intense, but I loved every minute of it. It's not like as intense as I think some other horror books out there, but definitely lots of fun. And then next up, A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I just love the perspective of the story. It follows Dracula's wives writing about their lives together after she had murdered him. It was a great story about kind of like domestic abuse and how it looks loving at times, and how it's not all bad, and why it's so hard for these victims to leave. But on the other hand too, though, it kind of shows a great representation of what am I trying to say? I want to say polyamory, but it feels weird with the abuse dynamic, but like the other 3 that end up in this relationship all end up really loving each other, and even though they were in this bad relationship with this bad man, they still all had each other, which is great. And then for the last of the physical books I have here, Slewfoot by Brom. This follows this young woman. She is recently widowed after her husband dies, and her brother-in-law wants to take the farm from her and make her leave, but she is determined to keep her farm, so she ends up making a deal with this potentially old woodland god, but also could be the devil, and he agrees to help her basically make the farm thrive. And, it kind of takes place in a puritanical early America-ish. So, I think you know where this is going. But I was entranced the entire way, and there's pictures in the middle. The next one I want to talk about is The Raven Scholar. I loved The Raven Scholar. Like, it was a great kind of, I don't know if it fully counts as dark academia, but it felt like dark academia to me, so that's how I'm going to describe it. The Raven Scholar is the scholar for the Emperor, and it's on the night that the Emperor, it's like his last night of Emperor before these set of trials begin to decide who the new Emperor is going to be, and there is a murder. And so it's a murder mystery where the main female character, who's the Raven Scholar, she has to figure out who murdered the contestant because everyone thinks she's the one that did it because they had bad blood. So it kind of goes from there. And there were so many twists and turns in this that I did not see coming. And that makes it a good book, in my opinion. The next one I want to talk about is The Incandescent. Another great kind of almost academic setting fantasy story. It follows a school director of magic. She runs like a demon summoning class for high level like magicians or whatever, because she runs a magician school. And it follows her as she is like the teacher, like mentor figure to a bunch of powerful young magicians. And there's even a character that would usually be the type of character we would follow in these sorts of stories, but instead we're following this mature woman in her like late 30s and her arc, and it kind of, I think, shows that anyone could be a main character. That sounds so stupid saying it now, but I'm not good enough at editing to cut it out, so we're keeping that in. But absolutely loved it. And then, so the final recommendation I want to give in this video is The Sirens. Now, this one was a great story with a slow burn of feminine rage. The main character finds herself one night, she like wakes up with her hands wrapped around the throat of this boy that did her wrong. And so she runs away to go to her sister, who she's hoping will help her. And when she gets there, her sister isn't there. So not only is she now dealing with her weird, like, dream walkings that has never happened before, and these weird reoccurring dreams that keep happening, and the fact that her sister is not where she's supposed to be. She's not at home at all. She doesn't know how to get like any like messages to her because her phone was left at the house. So she just stays in the house and kind of tries to figure out all of these different mysteries. And well, again, another great blend of storytelling elements. It has a dual timeline because we also see the reoccurring dreams as they're happening, because they follow the reoccurring dreams. These two convict girls who they were convicted for attempted murder, but it's because the attempted murderer tried to do something to them. So it's kind of like they were unfairly tried, and now they were put on this convict ship, which originally, like, you know, the whole thing of how Australia was colonized by convict ships. They were set on a ship to go to Australia to start, like, populating it and colonizing it. And it follows those two stories beautifully. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, those are all of my God tier book recommendations. I think this is a great, like, variety of stories that show what I like to read and the kind of stories that really interest me. Stay tuned for more. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, share, all of that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.